The traffic light protocol is a framework for classifying information sensitivity and providing guidance on how to handle it. It is a designation system widely used in cybersecurity, and you need to know how to use it. Let's get you up and running with this information sharing standard today. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Adam and I teach everything CTI. I've helped build CTI teams, refine processes, and train clients on best practices. If you want to learn it all for free, subscribe to this channel. The Traffic Light Protocol, or TLP for short, is a framework for classifying information sensitivity and providing guidance on how to handle it. Today, we will explore how you can use this protocol to securely share information both within and outside your organization. Let's jump straight in and start exploring this classification system. The Traffic Light Protocol is a standardized classification framework for securely sharing sensitive information in cybersecurity. It was created to facilitate effective information sharing while protecting sensitive information from unauthorized disclosure. The framework uses 4 categories to classify information based on how sensitive it is, how it should be handled, and who is the appropriate audience. Each category has a designated color based on the colors of a traffic light, hence the name. These designations help organizations and individuals determine how and with whom to share information in the cybersecurity community. TLP was designed to facilitate greater information sharing by breaking down the walls that were siloing organizations from key intelligence. Since then, it has become widely adopted within the cybersecurity community and is supported by various government agencies, industry organizations, and standards bodies. Let's take a look at the 4 main TLP categories so you can gain a better understanding of how this framework works. TLP Red is the strictest TLP designation. It protects sensitive information that can only be shared with a limited number of authorized personnel. Sharing this information can result in significant risks to the organization's privacy, reputation, or operations. If a meeting is classified as TLP Red, anything discussed in that meeting should not be shared with any outside party. Additionally, any information shared between those present at the meeting should be shared verbally or in person to reduce the chances of data leaks. Information marked TLP Amber should be shared only on a need-to-know basis within an organization or with its trusted partners. Sharing this information may carry privacy, reputation, or operational risks, but doing so may prevent potential harm. A subclassification of TLP Amber is TLP Amber plus Strict. This designation means the information is restricted to the organization and not to be shared with its clients or trusted partners. When information can be shared with a cybersecurity community, it is marked TLP Green. This information is shared to raise awareness of emerging cyber threats that's not available in publicly accessible channels like news sites or research blogs. Unless otherwise specified, TLP Green information should not be shared outside the cybersecurity community or your sharing group. You will typically find this information on commercial threat intelligence platforms or within sharing groups like ISACs, ISOs, or CERTs. TLP Clear information can be shared with anyone without restriction. It carries minimal or no foreseeable risk of misuse and can be released publicly in accordance with copyright or other applicable rules. You may occasionally see TLP White on old documents. This category was used in the older version of the TLP framework, version 1. Since 2022, TLP version 2 has replaced it with the TLP Clear designation. Now that you know the basics of the Traffic Light Protocol, let's look at why you would want to use it in the first place. TLP has helped improve the cybersecurity industry by providing a standardized system for classifying and handling sensitive information. It guides users through classifying, handling, and sharing data with others, all with an intuitive color coding scheme. This reduces the risk of accidentally disclosing information and promotes sharing crucial threat intelligence with the community to address security vulnerabilities and tackle threat actors collaboratively. Here are the key benefits of adopting the traffic light protocol for your organization. Firstly, we have compliance with data regulation. All organizations are subject to compliance regulations if they handle sensitive data. Just think about GDPR. TLP makes it easier to comply with these regulations by marking the sensitivity of data and ensuring employees know how to handle it appropriately. Another key advantage of TLP is that it fosters collaboration. TLP helps foster community collaboration and information sharing by providing clear guidelines for handling and sharing sensitive information. This allows multiple organizations to work together on a security project or respond to an incident collaboratively. TLP can also be used to enhance your organization's reputation. The adoption of TLP shows that an organization takes protecting data seriously and is committed to ensuring it is handled appropriately. This enhances the organization's reputation and builds trust with key stakeholders. TLP also helps you improve your cybersecurity. It allows organizations to safely share information about the latest cyber threats, detection techniques, and industry trends with the community. This controlled flow of intelligence empowers organizations to bolster their defenses while reducing the risk of disclosing sensitive information. The traffic light protocol is also easy to adopt. TLP can be used on documents, emails, presentations, and within automated sharing exchanges like MISP or OpenCTI. It is also optimized to be easy to use and human readable, making it straightforward to implement for most organizations. Finally, TLP streamlines communication. Its focus on person-to-person intelligence sharing, whether threat intelligence reports or emails, facilitates frequent and effective collaboration. Licensing terms, handling and encryption rules, or other overbearing restrictions do not hamstring this framework. With these benefits in mind, let's explore how you can use TLP in the real world. But wait, you might already be using the traffic light protocol or something similar. If you are, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Please share how you are using it, or if you're using another system to protect sensitive data. The traffic light protocol is adaptable to various real-world scenarios, like email or messaging, distributing documents, and sharing via automated information exchanges like MISP or OpenCTI. Here are some popular sharing methods and how to use TLP with them. How can you use TLP in emails? Well, when exchanging emails that contain TLP tagged information, you should indicate the TLP color in the subject line and the email body before the designated information. This allows the recipient to see the TLP classification clearly and then decide if they are the intended audience. If they are not, they should immediately report the incident. To add the TLP designation, enter TLP followed by the appropriate color and ensure you use capital letters like TLP red, amber, green or clear. Keep this consistent for automated data protection tools and for cohesive reporting. But what if you're using documents instead? Well, documents that include a TLP designation should indicate the TLP color of the information in the header and footer of every page. It is advisable to write justify TLP designations to avoid confusion with existing control marking schemes. To ensure the TLP designation is legible, the TLP color should appear in capital letters and use a 12-point font type or greater. Again, capital letters are a requirement of the designation. But say you're making use of an automated information exchange, like MISP or CTI. TLP usage in automated information exchanges is not defined in the standard framework and is left to the designers of these exchanges. That said, it is common for automated information exchanges to provide tags that users can add to their threat intelligence to provide additional context to users. This allows users to tag information using TLP designations and use sharing rules to ensure sensitive information is only shared with the appropriate audience. So, now you know how to use TLP designations for emails, documents, and information sharing exchanges, let's look at some of the best practices when using the traffic light protocol. Firstly, if a recipient needs to share the information more widely than indicated by the original TLP designation, they must obtain explicit permission from the original source. Keep this in mind when using it at your organization. Next up, the source of the TLP labeled information is responsible for ensuring recipients understand and follow TLP sharing guidance. Maybe use a training program. Also, the source of the TLP labeled information can specify additional sharing restrictions that the recipients must adhere to, like encryption or licensing agreements. Keep in mind that TLP labels and their definitions are not intended to affect freedom of information or have legal ramifications on their users. Also, TLP is optimized for person-to-person sharing and is most effective in these situations, like when you're sharing documents, reports, presentations, messages, videos, or even in-person calls. You should also ensure clear documentation on the framework is easily accessible to all employees and that training is provided before implementing TLP at your organization. So, how can you get started implementing TLP today? Well, let's take a look. To implement the traffic light protocol at your organization, you can follow these 5 simple steps. Step 1. Identify sensitive information that needs protecting. First, you must determine what information is sensitive to your organization and requires protection. This could include information about customers, operations, security vulnerabilities, or your proprietary technologies. You can use techniques like crown jewel analysis to help you identify these assets. The next step is to use TLP to classify this information. Classify this information using the TLP categories so employees know how to handle it and when it can be shared. It can even help to add automation to speed up this process and ensure that all new documents include a TLP classification. Step 3 is all about creating guidelines, training, and documentation on the traffic light protocol. Once all of your sensitive information has been classified, you can develop policies and procedures for handling TLP labeled information. This is an important step because it establishes how your organization will use the traffic light protocol, ultimately dictating the success of implementing the framework. Step 4 is start to train your employees and key stakeholders. With your guidelines created, you can move on to training your employees and stakeholders on using the traffic light protocol to handle sensitive information. This includes training employees on how to classify information with TLP, identify and report potential breaches of TLP guidelines, and procedures for sharing TLP labeled information with others. The final step is to schedule periodic reviews to ensure TLP is being used appropriately. You want to periodically review how employees are using the traffic light protocol, how documents are being labeled, and what information is being shared with the wider community. This will ensure that your TLP guidelines are understood and followed appropriately. You may find guidelines need to be revised or employees need additional training. These 5 simple steps will help your organization get started with the traffic light protocol. Your success will largely depend on how you implement TLP and balance the need for information sharing, data protection, and limiting overhead. The traffic light protocol, or TLP, is a fundamental designation system used throughout cybersecurity, particularly in cyber threat intelligence. It is used to classify information sensitivity and guide you on how you should handle it. It uses 4 colors to assign a sensitivity label to information. These labels dictate how it should be handled, shared, and protected. Using this system, organizations can more efficiently share information without worrying about inadvertently leaking sensitive data that could be used against them. Now you know what it is and how to use it. Make sure to include TLP labels whenever you share data or threat intelligence. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like to let me know you want to see more of this content. Also, stay tuned for more deep dives into key threat intelligence topics.